Hey guys, welcome to Recovery Stories by BeDSiDe. What's up, Vince? Hey, Chris, how are you guys doing? We are doing a live, and of course, Rodley is here. And what we're doing is we're gonna give you guys a couple updates and kind of just checking in to see how you're. Pinky's here. Hi, sweetie pie. How are you? How are you guys? What's up, James? What's up? How are you guys doing on quarantine? What have you guys been up to? We have a couple updates and a special guest and a special topic. My Carol's here. I miss you guys so much. We've been going through quite a bit of things lately, and hats off to all of you who are surviving out there and staying positive. So you know what? What's up, my Julia? We're gonna actually end up having a meal time together in this pretty soon. And what we're going to end up doing is doing a small little group meeting, and people can come and join us, and we're going to be doing this shortly. So check it out. My Mary, she sent me, hi Laura, how are you, sweetie? Thank you so much for joining us today. I gotta show you, check this out. My Mary sent these to me. These are the cutest little things. They are, oh my gosh, she made these. I got to show it to you. It's a little Pegasus unicorn earring. Isn't that so adorable? I love it. So I'm rocking some earrings today. Oh, thank you, Robin. And hi, Lisa. Yes, Doki, I do remembers you. Oh, bless your heart, Jessa. We are so glad you guys joined us today, and we have a special topic. A couple quick updates, because I'm just giving some people updates on my changes as well. We've had some really good things happen. I was able, because of some support we were able to receive, I was able to get my Zofran shots, which has been helping the nausea. And I've been able to push more nutrition. I was able to talk to my dietitian. We will be able to afford to bring her back in, thanks to all the blessings we get, and had a really good interaction, and went over what I'm currently doing, to what I've increased, and where we're going to keep going from there. She's going to be helping me with the carbohydrates that my body puts water on with, and keep maintaining the progress that I've already made so far, coming back from the bacteria infection and edema loss. Welcome, my Kimberly, my Danielle, Hillary, my Amy's here. Oh my gosh, we are so blessed to have you here. And we have a special topic today. And I know I got Eeyore on. Eeyore was always like, thanks for noticing. I even got the little pintail and everything. Hi, Megan and Carrie, you're both here. God bless you guys. I am so glad that you guys are here to join us. So this is a little bit different we're doing today. We have someone who's a very, very special friend of mine. We're very, very close. We've met through our journeys together. And her name is Kelly. Now, Kelly is somebody who is, I'll let her explain her story, but we're going to talk about, because since we're all stuck at home on quarantine, Christine, you're here, my love. Oh, thank God. I'm so glad you made it. Oh, by the way, I got to show my Pegasus earrings one more time. Mary sent these to me, my Mary Estante. She's such a sweetie pie. She made them, and I got them yesterday. Hi, Sherry. And what our topic today is, it's something pretty special. Since everybody is on a bit of a stay at home, what we're going to do, we're going to be talking talking about how we care for each other at home, whether you're by yourself or with someone. So I'm going to introduce you to my beautiful loved one, Kelly here. Hey, Kelly, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. We got our audio working good. What's up, my beauty cakes? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You and I are very close. You're my jam, as you know it. So one of the topics we're going to talk about, and by the way, I'm introducing you. This is my Kelly. And what she does is she's a pediatric nurse, as well as she's gone through her own recovery. And we're going to talk about caregiving today. And I think this is a kind of an important topic. So let's bring caregiver. I got my Liz bowls.
What's up,
here.
you guys?
I call these my Liz bowls because Liz sent them to me.
What's up,
Hey,
Kelly?
Ron.
There she is. There he is. All right.
If you're wondering, yes, I wear a beanie 360 days out of the year. It makes my head feel nice and comfy. So,
on a positive note, I must add, by the way, yes, Kimberly, I'm at home right now with the question. Absolutely. We're stay at home on quarantine because I'm extremely susceptible to this. And check it out. I've been stretching my stomach out. And today I have an extra egg today. Boom, boom. Double the fun, double the pleasure with my double mint
I want to say too, I kind of poured some pepper on it and more pepper came out than usual. So
I like some spicy.
Luckily she likes it peppery. Pepper eggs, huh?
I was
trying to blot it to get the pepper out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I poured it all in there.
Hi, Julia. Before I was on a mid-time snack, I was on one egg, and now I'm on 2 eggs today as a mid-time snack, which is awesome. We got some Kelly shout-outs, by the way. Oh, bless your heart, Peggy. He loves me, my Eeyore. We got to get you guys some onesies on here.
I have a Santa Claus onesie, but you don't want to see that. December, I will wear it. How's that sound?
My Lauren, yes, amen. Extra egg. So our topic is going to be about caregiving. Kelly, give us a little bit of background on yourself.
So I'm a pediatric cardiovascular intensive care nurse. And I've been doing that for I've worked in the pediatric ICU for 16 years. And I've been a nurse for about 14 and a half. So, wow. And and right now I am in between jobs and working on trying to find a new one on the other side of the country because I'm living in Boston right now. So
over to
coming back to Cali.
She's coming to she's trying to come over.
Have you been to California before?
Mm-hmm. I've been to visit. I've been to visit. My sister lived in San Diego for a few months, and I had to come out and drive her back home when it didn't work out. So, and I have friends in San Juan Capistrano, and I've got family in Palm Springs.
That's why
wherever it is you live.
That's why Rachel has permagrin. I call it permagrin. Every time Rod walks in, I have this silly smile on my face, and he goes, "It's Kelly, huh?" I'm like, "Of course, yeah, it's Kelly." So she's hopefully going to be, she's been doing some interviews and things like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see. Fingers crossed in the next couple of days, I'll know what I'm going to do. And I actually might have to fly out there next week to do some stuff. So, yeah.
And you know, Amy is also from this area too.
From San Francisco. I already have plans with her. The minute I can get up there with her, I'm going to San Francisco. Love that city.
That was a drive from us.
Can you pick me up on the way?
Absolutely.
Pick me up and we're gonna go do our world tour and meet everybody out there.
Yep.
Just throw me in the trunk. I'll stow away. Just throw me in the trunk and I'll
compact. He's compact. No problem.
I can find a way.
So, Kelly, you've as a pediatric cardiovascular nurse, you do a lot of caregiving, right?
Yes, a lot.
And you yourself go through several conditions, let's say.
Yeah.
Can you give us a brief rundown real quick of what you suffer from?
Oh my God, it would be easier to tell you what I don't.
All
Honestly.
right. Let us
So
have it.
I'm in recovery from binge eating disorder. And also, I mean, I've had atypical anorexia, which a lot of people don't know what that is. I'm more than happy to explain it at one point, and bulimia, but most recently binge eating. But I also have fibromyalgia, and I'm trying to think of what else. I have a very, very rare form of muscular dystrophy that affects usually people when they're over 50. I've had symptoms since I was about 12. So, and then OCD and anxiety and panic. So that's just a small list of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a concise, abridged version of what you have to go through on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So,
what keeps you fueled? You look like you're very, very happy and alert today, which is good because I'm happy.
I had good news today, so
yeah,
I had my interview today, or my partial interview today.
I know you're like glowing today from cheek to cheek. I like it.
Well, what about me? I know the news. That's why I'm glowing.
I see you all the time.
I'm glowing because I know the news.
I see you all the time.
Yeah, I just had my interview with the recruiter at Children's Hospital of Orange County. It went really well, and I've got a whole bunch of options now. So fingers crossed, one of them works out. And if that's the case, I'll be moving out there in about a month and a half.
What? I seriously, you remember how I couldn't sleep all night pretty much? I slept like an hour or two.
Yeah. No, I don't know because I was sleeping.
Yeah, I know. He gets to snore. This is what I wait. This is how my sleep goes. I'm not even joking.
She's joking.
This is him. This is my. And sometimes I can't sleep without
anything.
it.
She's full of it.
This is really funny, Kel. I got to tell you guys, this is what he does. He'll do this. He'll go, pretend I'm Rod. He'll go, you're going to say, what? Why are you waking me up?
Just making up stories.
He tells me I woke him up when his own snoring wakes him up. It is so
Well, I thought
funny.
that she was probably, needing something in that moment.
You know
then I woke myself up.
We have a question here. Christina has a question. Could you please explain atypical anorexia? Because most people don't know what that is. And by the way, Mary's here, the one who made my earrings, by the way. She is here. And I had to blaze them for my Mary. They are so cute. I can't stop wearing them. I love them.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had to tell that. Go ahead. Atypical anorexia.
So atypical anorexia is basically, it's very similar. It has a lot of the same characteristics, a lot of the same behaviors and habits. The difference is that you don't restrict as much. So you don't have that extreme weight loss. So in my case, I didn't eat anything, but I would still drink. And I wasn't counting calories. I was just doing it so that, because it was the one thing left that my parents really controlled. They didn't control what I drank, so I could drink whatever the heck I wanted. So I was probably still drinking about 600 to 800 calories a day, so I wasn't losing a lot of weight. And that's the difference.
How long ago was it?
I started when I was just before I turned 11. So I'm going to be 38 next week. So we'll say about 27 years. 27 years, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I didn't do it for long. I mean, did it for about 3 years without being noticed, and then someone started to notice, so I started eating and moved on to bulimia. So, yeah.
And so she has a very interesting perspective, because not only is she going through her own diseases, she's also a nurse and a caretaker. And that's a very interesting combination.
You flip the switch on that. You're caregiving for other people, and we're able to flip that. That's awesome.
And a question that you're getting. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie.
That's okay. We call it being on both sides of the bed.
Is that what it is? So you have a question. Do you think it's a control issue in some form?
It was completely a control issue because I didn't want my parents controlling my eating habits anymore. So if I could hide it or do whatever, I'm not going to talk about what I actually did, but if I could keep myself from eating, it was the one thing that they still kind of controlled, because I lived in a really small town, so I could get wherever I needed to go and do all those things. But they controlled what I ate, so I just controlled how much or how little I put in my mouth.
Right, right.
And
And
it was very much control.
somebody is relating to you that they're trying to care for themselves, Granny Goose is, but also a caregiver for her disabled husband. And that is a very, very hard balance right there. Can we talk about that topic, about what it means to have to caregive yourself? And there was a question, by the way, that I will address in a second about somebody who was commenting about I'll address this in just a second about how you can, Kelly and I, we can discuss about what some tips that have helped us on our anorexia recovery and things like that. But go ahead and please, how the important topic of caregiving, I feel that gets lost on it, is caregivers taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very well. We don't do a very good job.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning that one.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you're still learning. I mean, I would never claim to be an expert on any of it. The caregiving side, the ED side, I still don't really know what's going on. And my position was a little bit more unique because I was a nurse and I was going through this, but I also had a best friend who was my support, but also required a lot of care herself. And you know, and so I kind of was really being torn in every single direction I could be torn in. I didn't have any time to worry about myself.
And it definitely takes its toll, that's for sure.
And it took a toll.
Like, I'll give you an example in Rod's case of caregiving. He has this scowl right here. He goes like this. He scowls right there. And I told him I'm going to eventually take that away.
Yeah.
I said, that's my promise, is
my,
to take it away.
My worry lines.
His worry lines.
And my white worry hairs are forming a little bit.
But what had happened was, I mean, because, you know, I think I've told you before, I've spent about 9-10 months out of a year in a hospital. And you can, as you know, it's a long, expensive, burdening time, because Rod is in there with me. And the reason, and you know what was so important, because if Rod wasn't there, I wouldn't have made it. Rod was doing caregiving in the hospital. I mean, he was caregiving, getting everything, because I couldn't, you know, hit the button every few minutes.
There's a lot of projection of knowing with what, you know, thinking ahead. Whenever Rachel was at her worst, I was always taking it from with what she was telling me before she got bad. I was always trying to think 5 steps ahead, and you know what the doctors, they may know, they may not know. So I've tried to talk to the doctors to make sure we're all on the same page before they came in to kind of sabotaged anything. You know what I mean? So it's always been a very tough situation. And for me, finally getting a little bit better sleep here and there. And so I'm noticing as I've gotten a little bit older, the sleep deprivation is real. And ever since I was in my early 20s, I've always kind of like shortened up my sleep to go get a workout in the morning, or else get to work earlier and not sleep enough. And it's definitely a whole new world, getting the rest and taking time out for myself. And hence the painting. See, by the way, Kelly was the one who got my first painting sent all the way over to you in Bedford, Mass.
Yeah. And some specials on her way. And Christina brings up a really good point, because I've heard you say this constantly. What? You're always on a high alert, a constant high alert. There's no, you remember, like, explain what you mean by that.
Anything from making sure the foods their vitals are good, or it's almost like balancing a bunch of plates. You know what I mean? When a plate stops spinning, it goes spin that plate.
Yeah, you've seen those people who spin
I mean?
plates on sticks and they keep them going. Like, you know, that's how Rod was, or Rod is. And in so many instances, and, you know, this is what is crazy. In so many instances, Rod...
It's all gone.
I know. I loves me my eggs. Rod actually saved my life and got them to bring the crash cart in when I was failing. They didn't, it wasn't alerted to them. If it hadn't been for him on, gosh, more times than I'd like to count, I wouldn't be here, because he noticed this. Oh, he's noticed that my, you know, like the heart, liver, kidneys.
It was so hard not to get into a panic-stricken mentality whenever something so real and something so dangerous and whatnot, and being able to be poised through the situation and be encouraging, but trying not to allow my emotions to affect, for my case with Rachel, of course, you know, and try to put the face on, even though if I'm like, you know, frustrated, debilitated, you know, there's a lot of depression comes along with it as well, and trying to find out ways of getting through it, so then I could be a part of more of a normal lifestyle, you know. So with her, of course, she can come too.
I'm allowed. I'm allowed. Yeah.
I just want to go out with the boys. No,
but it's true, don't you? You guys, like, as a nurse, you have to stay on top of everything. You know, you get like it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, we have to watch for. I mean, me myself, you know, the tiniest little color change, the smallest little blip on a cardiac screen, anything. I mean, I worked in ICU, so for me, it was a lot. We're right there. And with kids, you're basically always in the room where you're sitting right outside staring at a monitor. So any tiny little thing. And I can't tell you how many times I walked out of a room thinking that a kid was doing just fine. And 2 minutes later, I was pushing a code button.
Yeah. Well, back in November 2014, I was doing personal training, and I randomly get 911 text messages or calls from her situation, and my fear was something happening and no one's there to help her, right? Yeah. So then I dropped off my clients at that point to go full time to help her through her recovery and trying to figure out how we can make this whole thing work, because she needs someone there to make sure that it all, you know, nothing happens. And I mean, there was too many different situations that happened back then. So.
And I'm just out of curiosity, because I know Rod has said this, like he has this thing where he's paranoid, because he would stare at if I was asleep, he would stare to make sure my chest would go up and down, that I was breathing. Yeah. That's how high alert he is. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask both of you, because I know your answer, but I want you to expand on it. Do you guys get PTSD from that stuff, from those experiences yourself?
Yeah, I have what's called complex PTSD.
Ooh.
So it's
could you talk on that?
Yeah, so regular PTSD usually stems from either one experience or one time period of something happening. Complex PTSD is something that is continuous and that you're continuously put into that situation. And so a lot of healthcare workers have that complex PTSD. But I had the same kind of issues with my best friend's name was Megan. So with Megan, because she wouldn't tell me when things were wrong, I had to kind of keep an eye on her, because she didn't seem to understand when something was a little more serious. So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, for me, I had a situation. My main one is anything burning her. If something's too hot, it's almost like mother checking the milk with making sure the milk's not too hot for the infant. But she had a situation that happened years ago that I was asleep on the couch.
A year and a half ago.
Wasn't it? It was a while ago. But I fell asleep on the couch upstairs, and she ended up going into the kitchen on her own to get some soup, and it was like a couple other things. But she was trying to get something from the kitchen, and she had bumped the. I think she was trying to get ice from the refrigerator, and she was trying to get some ice, and she had soup in her hands at the same time, and it fell on her, scorching hot. And I wake up to this just bloody murder screaming, and that just went on, because when you burn something like someone like that, or someone gets burned like that, I should say, it's just an ongoing pain until we're able to get through it. And I was like, okay, what are you doing?
What happened?
And so I ended up getting her into a cool tub to cool it down, because and then it was just about rehab after that. But it was one of those situations that I just
it's like embedded in his brain, because I had 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The 3rd degree wasn't as bad because your nerves are shot, so it's just black. But I had spilled it all over my pelvic area, so it was just boiling. It was about let me see if my hands it was about this much of my stomach and hip were burnt, and I have pictures of it. It's absolutely. It's just. It looks like somebody was corroded. I
had to keep some type of what was it? It wasn't petroleum jelly, but we used some other medications to keep it moist.
Silvazidine,
yeah. And I didn't go into the ER or anything, because when you've gone through so many different things, you're like, you try to minimize expenses.
We had the home nurse that would come out, and she was
I have it too.
And everything.
You know what I'm talking about.
I have it. I have the same stuff stocked.
Do you really? Yeah. I went that, we go to the cabinet, and we, have learned so many different things. And I'm a little bit of a biological geek, or, I like to read stuff and know about stuff. So I had known about, I research a lot of things like that. So that was the only thing we could do at the time. I mean, Silvadine, isn't it what it's called?
Silvadine. Yeah, Silvadine.
Silvadine. Yeah, my Samantha is doing it.
So whenever I give her anything that's remotely hot, I'm like, just be careful. Are you both hands on it? I was like, even like every single time, even now, I'm like, I just have this fear of something falling on her for some reason. Well, we know the reason, but
Oh, my poor Heather. Yeah, you understand then what we're talking about. My goodness. It is like, she's saying she hears
we had a
later.
neighbor that came over to check on us, because it was like someone was getting attacked. It was at that level of screaming. She ended up screaming into a pillow after a while, because it was just like a pain that just wouldn't go away. So that was one of my most traumatizing experiences with the recovery process, you could say, But it is in regards to the caregiving side. It feels like it's an ongoing 24/7 mentality of making sure that the food's there, the medication's there, the being aware of things like bed sores, or not to get too graphic, but anything odd happening with her insides that come out,
his favorite is healthy. His favorite duty is commode duty. That's his favorite time of day. Insert sarcasm here, right? No, Kelly. Now, do you find that you yourself feel not being able to care for people right now? What is it like not being able to right now?
It's breaking my heart right now.
But you caregive here, though. You caregive here, but you don't, online with social media, you're very, very loving and amazing, but you need that hands-on, right?
Yeah. It's been almost 4 months now since I've actually laid hands on anyone. And I mean, that's the longest I've ever gone. And that's my heart.
3 months.
4 months, almost 4. It'll be 4 months in about a week. And that's what I went to school to do. That's what I've always wanted to do. And that's what I love to do. And, I don't care if I do kids, but I don't care if it's kids, adults, it doesn't matter. But it's my heart's just broken not being able to do it.
But, you've helped somebody very very
you're helping a lot of people right this moment.
Yeah,
just so you know.
Very much so in your caregiving. But having that hands-on is something that you need.
That
like
I need, yeah. I need the tactile. I'm very tactile. I'm very hands-on with everything. So I like to. I'm a hugger. I'm like, and so it's just been it's been a really tough couple months.
I didn't realize how many times they shake someone's hand or give somebody like either a full body hug, or like a half hug, but not doing any, especially like someone's dog coming over to you, you want to get 2 knees, hey buddy, and even then it's, but then you drive by a park and there's 10 people playing basketball and you're like, what are you guys doing? What what I mean? Just working away. But no, what did Julia was asking a question?
Oh, Julia is asking, caregivers get down, but what's your strength? How do you guys, when you guys are low, what gets you going? What keeps your strength going?
Well, Kelly can go first on this one.
Well, I'm music is a really big thing, and I feel like I tell everybody that I love music. I love to sing, and I really don't care who's listening and what they feel about it. That's one thing. But I do, like right now, the internet's been huge because I live alone, and I every now and then I'll talk to my family on the phone, but otherwise, the only time I talk to people is in the evenings if I'm chatting. So I have those couple people that I chat to all night long, right?
Who might that be?
That's
I can't help myself.
Yeah, that's what keeps me going right now.
Yeah, they're saying that human touch, like my Pauline is Pink Lady Luck. She's saying how human touch is so important, and some of us need it more than others. Like some of it, people are different. We're all different in what we do and how we feel. I'm a big hugger, and so it's hard for me to see people and not like, not that I've seen anybody because we are on quarantine, on the stay at home as well. But like if somebody was asking, Granny Goose was asking, do we have a contingency plan and someone to step in? Actually, we don't. We don't have a contingency plan, unfortunately. We just have, that's why it's like Rod is the one who has to go get things. And when he goes out, he's fully garbed. I tease him, like I was teasing you, it's like practically a hazmat suit. I mean, he's just garbed up.
I feel like I'm going to go rob the place, right?
You're like masked.
Like when somebody walks into your aisle for a split second, you forget you're garbed and everything. And someone looks at you, oh, geez, are we getting robbed? And, oh, yeah, I forgot. He's got to. But, yeah, it's what was the question? Rachel likes to skip around a little bit.
I know, it's hard to navigate these, the question.
No, so, what else? Let's get back to what we were talking about.
What were you saying? Your things are music and singing that help you. And
music, singing, and just any kind of human interaction I can have, if it's online, if it's on the phone, anything like that at this point, because I'm telling you right now, the first person that I see when this thing is over that I can hug, I'm never going to let them go. So
my mom says that all the time.
I'll volunteer.
My mother was telling me just yesterday, she was saying that at least it's happening now, not 10 years ago, to where you didn't have that availability to do FaceTime or Skype or see the other person while you're talking or whatnot. And there's a lot of like good timing, but at least the earth is healing the way I kind of try to take a glass half full approach, and at least the earth is getting nourished while we're not polluting it as much. And I think after this is all said and done, hopefully people find a way to make money online at home so they don't have to go out and drive and go into going to work.
I think people's psyche has kind of been, they're saying, it's been pretty impacted. I don't think we're ever going to be the same as what we were before this happened, you know? I mean, don't you notice like things that you, I don't know, you used to do that you're not allowed to do, and then now it feels weird to even do them again. Things that were normal, like hugging someone, now you're like, or if I go outside just to get a little sun, you know, there's children in our apartment area and they come up to me and, you know, their parents remind them don't get too close and everything like that, but they can't help themselves at times too. You know, it's a very like, you know, this mentality has shifted, and it says like kids, adults, will be impacted in our psychology of how we deal with each other later. You know, I think we'll all be kind of changed, and some have gone through
we'll
so
keep
much.
Some, I think we'll end up keeping some habits. You know, I think they may have the sanitizing things still afterward. And I think it'll be weird to be in a line and somebody right behind you. You're like, don't you know the rules? You're not supposed to be right behind me. You know, you know what I mean? And being able to have that space between people, you know, I think that will probably end up continuing, because I don't see things getting much better, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm looking at the polls and everything. I'm like, ugh.
Well, the thing is what we're all getting through something, and you use music and socialization to help get you through a lot of stuff. Rod, what is it like you relate to that helps you get through things?
You know what? With having my boys, my dogs, being able to take them out and give them a run, there's a part that I feel like I have to, because I'm the dad of the dogs and it's my responsibility.
The nurturing side.
But then there's that side that it feels good to kind of making sure that my lungs and heart and, you know, everything's going well for myself, and it clears my mind, and it's almost like a meditative state, because they don't talk to me very often. Although he does. Let me tell you one dog story real quick. Ike's got this thing. He's our papa dog, right? He's got this thing that he'll look at me. If he doesn't like what's presented to him, he'll do this. He'll go. He does just like that. You know, like, Ike, want to go outside? And he doesn't want to go outside. You know, now he's trained our other dog, Toby, to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And whenever they want to leave the room, Ike will start it, and then Toby chimes in. And before you know it, I have both dogs going. He's looking at me right now. You know what I'm talking about.
I know, he just stuck his head up.
He's a
Toby's
what?
Did you somebody call me?
But yeah, I think with the dogs, with music, with for sure connecting with friends and family on FaceTime or whatever, and having that interaction, and picking up a hobby like painting has been helping me out a lot. I'm just really drawn to it. So having those types of outlets has been helping me.
Kept your sanity, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
And then, the back of my mind, I'm always trying to think 5 steps ahead, making sure all the plates are moving all right. Then I just kind of get into organizing and cleaning around, and it's like an ongoing day, to be honest with you. I have that part of the day to where I'm trying to paint or do something like, okay, I'm on timeout. Let me just chill a second, not even move, and it feels so good. You know.
Yeah,
so.
and Christina here brings up a great point. For some people, introverts, it's easier on, you know, because they're not you know, extroverts and introverts are different. And also, let me ask you, Cal, on the, you call it, what is it, on both sides of the bed? Is that what it's called? So as being on the other side, do you find that the isolation has been harder on triggers or behaviors or anything? Or have you been able to work on it?
Well, it depends. I mean, in general, no, because I am very introverted most of the time, believe it or not. I really am not, I'm not super, I love talking to people, but I'm not crazy social. For me, the only thing that's really brought them up is it's all medication related. I had a little issue with medication a week or so ago. That was a problem that brought some triggers up, but otherwise, no, I'm okay, because this is kind of my happy place anyway, is just sort of either being alone or being with 1 or 2 people. I don't like big crowds. I don't like going out when there's a lot of people. So
Yeah.
There's like because I've been getting so many people with people's behaviors are kicking up, right? So because isolation sometimes, when we're in, let's say we're in a disease, a lot of times isolation can worsen it, right? And coming out and talking about it can bring life to it. And so it's hard. I'm getting a lot of people who are going through some challenges with staying at home and keeping busy. Some people are saying gardening has helped them, In
gardening, I almost forgot about that part. Which my garden is coming along nicely. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Green little leaves are coming out.
And you have your own little set of babies that you nurture.
Yes. Yeah, my bunnies.
Yes. I can't forget them.
Why have you not seen your bunnies? You have bunnies?
Oh, they give you kisses.
Don't bring them over here because Toby will.
What are you talking about? Rachel's, it's all mine. Would you be nice? They give me kisses.
I want to see the bunnies.
Well, they're in another room.
Next time.
In another.
They're downstairs. They're not.
They're not.
No, I have
very accessible.
Okay.
I have the bunnies, but I do have some little behaviors that kick up every now and then. But I think that kind of happens anytime that I have an extended period of time where I'm alone, where I'm completely alone. And it's all numbers things. It's time, it's numbers. I'm not going to go into it, but those kick in a little bit. It's been okay lately. I've had one or two little kind of lapses with that stuff lately, but I've managed to get myself out of it before I did anything damaging. So
what's your initial go-to situation for distraction? Do you have something that's
I'm a total TV nerd. I'm like all about the TV, movies, and music. And then depending on what time of day it is, I'll be on Facebook. I know you know that, so.
I have it like on a schedule pretty much. Pretty much.
I actually use Rachel as a big distraction sometimes. She's my good distraction.
Very distracting.
She's my, I'm a little distracting.
She's a good distraction in the evening.
Yeah, exactly. This has been like such a, I don't know. It seems like it's provided me with more insight on what you guys experience. You know what I'm saying? It's so fascinating how we can all come from different walks of life and can share a very similar experience that resonates with us all. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to you guys with caregiving, you guys, I learned something. I didn't know about continuous it's continuous PTSD, right? Is that what it's called?
It's complex
PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard of that.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that.
I'm out of it a little bit right now because I'm not in there, but the things that we see in the hospital are things no one should ever have to see in their lifetime. And that's what it is. It's that constant seeing those kinds of things. And then anything else that's going to cause any kind of PTSD also adds to it. So
that's interesting. Like to me, like I love my brain just loves to eat, because one thing that I can explain really quick, I'll make it very brief. During all this time, the body going up, down, that does a lot of damage to, for me, that I've had done. People have asked me, well, what is permanent damage that's been done? Bones, for sure. One thing that I wanted to address was my brain. It's crazy how neurologically you can get damaged in your brain. And in anorexia, our brains shrink, Mm-hmm. And you can look that up. I'm not a doctor, but our brain, our mass in our head, our gray matter, we're not accessing it all. And so accessing it all, meaning it all, not at all, but it all, we're not doing it. And so neurologically, I've had a hard time forming words, talking to people again. I've had, like, all last year was a really challenging time when I was detoxing off of fentanyl, challenging talking, things like that. All of these have a, neurological impact. I've been paralyzed. You know, there's different things happen. The paralyzation, thank God, was not permanent, but there's been damage done here. So I have to rewire. I had to learn to read again. Not like, I mean, I could read, but watching something on TV, I couldn't understand basic conversation at times, where I would put the captions on so I'd learn to reread again, so I can start working my brain. It's not that that I just physically have to, you know, heal. There's things that I have to heal here, psychological things, like we all do. But that part has, you know, really come to the front of the line now. So where I'm not really looking for words as much as I used to, you know, just basic conversation. And it's been so freeing. That's why I say the reason I talk so much about this stuff, because this is my way to dissuade people away from it as their warning. You don't want to go down these paths. These kind of illnesses are something, you know, we want to avoid at all costs, and we just keep talking about it to make it not a taboo. And sharing what you shared has enlightened me by exponentially, I would say.
Well, I wanted to mention though too, obviously her nutrition is definitely turning a corner, because her retention, her memory, she'll catch me on things periodically during the course of the day. Oh, did you do this? I'm like, oh, geez. She's recalling so much more now than she was before, and having the confidence, having the confidence to do these live chats like this. You know, this is live, right?
Oh yeah, is it?
Okay, just checking. But you know, to have that type of bravery just to do this while in recovery, I keep on forgetting to mention this part, is the courage that she has to even do this in the first place. And for you to come on board and tell your story, both of you. So, I mean,
I know.
Bravo to you. Everybody give a clap.
Clapping for my Kelly. I mean, because
for both of you. I mean, I go, you know, it is a really brave thing that you're doing with doing these chats. I mean, I know that for me, I think it's more impactful for her to see the people that she's connecting with, because there's so many people that, you know, she has a profile picture maybe of them with what they look like, but and going back and forth, but this makes it so much more of a real situation. You're like, oh, you know,
like I feel like you guys are celebrities and I get to talk to you. That's what it feels like. You got like you two, you know, like I know that sounds weird, but you guys, like I'm your guys' biggest fan, and so when I get that little like, oh my gosh, they're really here. You know, it's something special. And I love that we're getting this place. We keep this such a safe place for people, you know, because this is the time we need to confide and come out and talk about it, because secrets are, you know, can be toxic. And this has helped heal me. You guys have propelled me in a direction I didn't think was possible.
Well, you can get really trapped in the isolation type of mentality.
Yeah.
That before you know it, that you lose. You know, I'm not speaking for her. I can only imagine though, because I'm not in her body. But it turns into like a surreal type of like, am I even alive type of situation? Because if you get so isolated, and there's a time that nobody knew much with what she was experiencing and going through, because she wasn't ready for anyone to know anything about it yet. And you know, the flick of a switch, then everybody was knowing what's going on.
Well, you can imagine.
Which was really was awesome for myself. So I didn't feel like it was just me trying to work through this with her, and the doctors, like her friends and family, also want to show love and support. So I just really think that it's a very courageous that both of you, like I said, are able to come out, come out like this and share. And everyone who's still online, I'm sure I could speak for them as well.
And
so.
we're talking, like Kelly, you can relate, having a topic like this that's been considered taboo and gets so much negative, you know, comments and things like that, because it's misunderstood. Mm-hmm. And being able to talk about it has, you know, made people understand that we're not making a choice to be that way. We choose recovery. Absolutely. We make that choice and we choose on how to react to it. But an eating disorder is not what, for me and the people I've all experienced, I've not met one person who said it's, who is a professional that says it's a choice, because it's a psychological disease. And when we make it more comfortable and not a taboo, those people who may have passed away otherwise now feel that they don't have to take their own life, or, you know, something like that, from the shame and the guilt from people saying those things. This is something that's a real disease, like anything. Like, it's a disease, and we work through it. Yes, like as in, you know, God forbid, people who have cancer, if that comes back, just as, you know, in recovery for something so severe, we have setbacks, especially physically. Or, as you know, I mean, how many things has your poor little body been through, right?
Right.
I mean, we just keep fighting and keep pushing through, and we cheer each other on, you know? And Kelly, what would you like to say to everyone as a caregiver? From a caregiver's point of view, what is your message that you would like to leave with everybody?
Oh, you caught me off guard with that one.
I know, I totally did. Right, what would you say as a caregiver while Kelly's thinking?
Do the well, you mean caregiving for someone in general, or someone?
Well, yeah, like what would you say? What would you say to caregivers? What would you say to other caregivers out there?
Well, caregivers, like a general outlook, I think is you know, it's a very selfless situation to say, I'm going to give this person whatever they need to get them better, and putting yourself on the shelf for that moment, for that time. I mean, it comes back to caregiving for yourself as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're going to commit your life and all these hours for someone else's well-being, helping yourself along the way, stuff that I wasn't doing throughout the years, it does help the person you're helping.
It does.
You know what I mean? It's not well, I can't do, like I was thinking, well, I can't go take care of myself right now. Something may happen. I got to give all my energy towards the situation, because if I leave, that goes south, I'm going to have this overwhelming regret and this fear of this forensic, you know, doom, you know, that could happen at any time. But she sees me going out and eating, or exercising and taking care of myself and eating better, and working on my own craft and doing stuff, and having that balance of the time. I don't know, carving out like a big piece of pie and fraction out different times of the day for everything, you know.
And as a person who's being caregived for, I can attest to that when I see him not looking well, I don't feel good either. So as a patient, if my caregiver's taking care of themselves, it makes me happy. You know, if you know what I'm saying, it feeds off of each other.
So we both start winning. We start
absolutely
healing together.
You know, you want to see that person. Kelly, what would you say to caregivers?
I mean, I'm looking at it probably from a little bit of a different perspective, but similarly, though, you have to be kind to yourself. Yeah. You know, for us, I know for me, especially when we're in the hospital, I could be standing at a bedside for 12 hours and not be able to eat, not be able to use the bathroom, not be able to sit down. And, you know, people don't realize how much that affects us physically and mentally and emotionally. You know, especially, but we leave and they say, you know, leave everything behind. You can't do that. It's not that easy. I mean, for you, Rod, I can't imagine. I mean, you can't just leave everything behind. But, you know, for me, as someone who doesn't really let go of those things very easily, I'll come home and I just punish myself over and over and over again. I left and went to the restroom for 5 minutes, or I took a 45-minute break, and in that period of time, what could I have seen? What could I have fixed? What could I have?
That means so, because I could imagine I would be the same way, just because you're all the guilt you feel over not being there and just taking care of someone, having to overcome that because you can't just leave it there.
No, and someone, I mean, parents are entrusting us with, but for me, because it's kids, they're entrusting us with the most precious thing that they have, the most important things in their lives. And so when they go home or they go to bed or something like that, they're expecting that we're going to be watching them all the time. And, you know, so the idea of walking away, even when we're tired, we're frustrated, anything like that, it was very difficult for me because now I've got someone else who the parent doesn't know watching. And I don't know if they're going to notice, you know, I've been taking care of this child for 6 months. Are they going to notice the same thing I have if they've never seen them before? Yeah. Am I going to come back and see something different? Am I going to have to, you know, it's really hard on your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I think you said it so brilliantly and gave us a new perspective to look at. Yeah. And what is it that helps you overcome those challenges when you bring that home of self-destruction? What helps you work through them?
Well, I always had a support system, so I always had someone that I could bounce it off of. And now that I don't have that necessarily anymore, it's a lot of, it actually doesn't really go away. I have a very hard time getting rid of that. And that's part of my mental illness, is that it just continues and continues. But like anything else, you know, when I'm in the car driving home, I've got the music turned up and I'm singing along with whatever's on or whatever I want to put on. Or, you know, just coming home and keeping myself focused and occupied by something else, watching the TV, feeding the bunnies, doing something like that until I'm tired enough that I can just lie down and not have it constantly going through my head anymore.
Absolutely. Oh, Kelly, thank you so much for that, because support system is so important. Like you're saying, if you having that support system to be there for you,
right?
You know. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to mention too. What I'll do is after this ends, I'm going to put in the description where people can reach out to get help, suicide hotlines, things like that. As far as with anyone out there that's suffering from an eating disorder. So they can reach out.
And, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just wanted to mention that there is help. I mean, we're a good sounding board, you know what I mean, to come on and say, you know, and discuss, but I'm going to put that on.
And, you know, so. Rod also has a caregivers page, by the way, that he's put together. He hasn't really used it much, but he's going to start now.
It's on Facebook.
So it's on Facebook. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's just a Caregivers Road to Recovery rather than Rachel's Road to Recovery. It's kind of a spinoff, I guess, but talking more along the lines of caregiving, on that type of angle of recovery.
So if you get on that, Kel, if you have any articles or any advice, any posts and things like that for caregivers, and Rod was going to do the same, let's create that kind of, because especially right now, we're all kind of caregiving for each other, being on, you know, stay at home, you know. I mean, if you're with someone, right? But you're with your babies, your fur babies, but we all have our caregiving going on. So what we'll do is we'll start putting things in, anything that you feel, please do post.
We'll have our own exclusive caregiving chats.
There we go.
We'll do that.
That's my girl. Oh, my sweetheart. So thank you so much, my Kelly, for coming in and enlightening us all and keeping this, you know, this great insight going. We love you so much, my love. I love your face.
And you know I'm going to bug you all night. Our goal is to keep it at the hour so we don't get too exhausted.
Yeah.
Like fast.
I need my nap
I'm
wearing Eeyore. I got to me my Eeyore got on right here. So, my love, I will talk to you in just a bit. I love you, my dear. And I will be seeing you soon.
Love you guys. We will be back.
We love you. And
take care of yourselves.
I will be getting through the comments, by the way, in case you need anything.
Wear your masks.
We love you. Last one. I love you. And by the way, if you need help, please reach out. You're not alone. We are here for you all. And we will get to all the comments, we promise. We love you so much, you guys. My Rita, my Kelly, my Brett, and my Pink Lady Luck, my Pauline, my Christina. I could go on. Vince, Chris, I could keep going on forever. I love you. And I'm going to shut up so Rod can get me off the blue. So what we say?
Love you guys.
Love you.